Susan wants to retire this year with $413,000 in her 403B plan and her teacher pension of roughly $30,000 per year. But she is uncertain if she's financially ready for retirement and has some additional questions on how to source retirement income from her portfolio, how to handle inflation, long term care costs, and longevity risks, and never running out of money in her retirement. Stick around and let's see if we can help out Susan today. Okay, so here we are at Susan's plan. Let's run over some base details. Susan's 60. She wants to retire from being a high school teacher. She's single. She has two adult children that are completely independent. And let's take a look at her net worth here. She has a little bit in an emergency fund. She has a 403B with a balanced investment profile. And then she does own her house free and clear. And based on the run up in the housing market, it is valued at roughly $400,000. So that is a great asset for her to have. That with the portfolio is going to do her help her out a ton here. Her goals: she wants about $3,500 a month, which is about $43,000 a year. We do have long-term care costs in here for 2 years at today's rate, adjusting for inflation in the future. I always put that in for clients because you should be concerned a little bit about long-term care costs. And then her health care is she's going to stay on the school district's health care until age 65 when Medicare kicks in. So that is not a big problem for her. Her Social Security, she wants to take at 62 here, and at 67, it's about $2,500. And then her pension, $30,000 at age 62, life only, and no cost of living adjustment or anything like that. She wants to plan for a long retirement, so I do have age 90 in here. We could back that up to 95, different things like that. But for right now, 90 seems appropriate. Let's take a look here. So she starts at 60%. We can do some stuff here to make this a lot better. Now, I want to caution you, 60% in her case is not that bad because she has so much in her equity in her home, right? She has $400,000 house. I mean, even if it goes down to 300, that's still a ton of money for a safety net she has. So this is not that bad of a number for her. This is just purely on her portfolio, her staying in her house, and her portfolio, her pension, her Social Security at 62, right? So not that bad. Let's see what's going on here. So seems like the main issue is long-term care. So either taking a hit early and then it can't regrow and then just returns, and then long-term care. So that's why I'm not as worried here, is because she has that equity in her house. She can do a reverse mortgage. She can sell it, move into a retirement home, whatever. I'm not that worried. So for long-term care, I know she had a question about long-term care. We have 2 years of long-term care in her plan based on today's cost of long-term care adjusted for inflation. So that's pretty much taken care of. And on top of that, she still has her house in case something goes wrong, right? She still has it. So I'm not too worried there, Susan. You should be good there. Let's take a look here. Let's see what else we can do. So she wants to take Social Security at 62. What about full retirement age? Let's play around with these numbers a little bit. And it does go down. Now, usually I say delay as much as possible, but because she has a smaller portfolio, there becomes a new kind of retirement risk zone that's affecting her probability of success here. And so what you can see is she's drawing down for 7 years, right? Because she's 60 now. And it's really draining her portfolio, and then it affects and she can't recover, right? That's kind of what's happening here. And that's why in this case it's better to take it 62. So, but let's look at something. I'm going to actually add in a Roth conversion strategy for her, which is a very small amount of conversions. You can see this green line, really small amount. I mean, there's a big conversion here up to the 12%, right? Just converting up to the 12% bracket. But then after that, it's really small conversions, but that's actually going to help her with quite a bit more money, and it's actually going to help her plan quite a bit. So let's take a look. Let's flip that on. I don't want to go into Roth conversions too much. I've covered that in a lot of different videos. Maybe I'll pop up a link somewhere and you can see that. But 9% bump. Okay, so that's good. So 69%, and she still has her house. We're looking pretty good. And obviously, in a more in depth plan, we could model in, what if you sell, different things like that. And then, so okay, so that looks pretty good. Now let's say, what if we go to for retirement age now? Now that we're a little more efficient on taxes, saving money, taking a little later is good because you are able to do your Roth conversions and then start Social Security. So that's why we're getting a big bump here. And so let's see, what about 70? Is 70 even better? It feels like a long time to go to 70. It's not. Okay. So for retirement age is the best. Actually, let's go ahead and address a couple other questions she had. So she had a question on the best way to replace her paycheck. Well, obviously she has Social Security and she has her pension. So the actual replacement, let's go look at it. I have some numbers here so we can actually see her income sources. So let's keep it simple and just say she takes it 62. And we can see here. So basically, she has to fund 2 years of withdrawals until she's 62 and she can start her Social Security. And then from there, you can see she's drawing a very small amount from her portfolio. So, and if we look at that as a withdrawal rate, she's withdrawing less than 1%, and it creeps up here because her pension is not keeping up with inflation, but it still remains extremely low. And then she obviously has the danger zone here of the long term care planning. So she wants to know how do I solve for this income gap? Now, obviously, delaying till 67 or a couple years later on Social Security will probably take care of that for her. But what I have is I'm going to link a tool in the comment section. It's called the Retirement Income Style Assessment. So what Susan would do is she would take this assessment, and based on how she answers, it's essentially a survey. Based on how she answers these different questions, she will be put into one of the four quadrants. And from there, whatever quadrant she is, I could then decide on how to build an investment plan for her, right? There's total return portfolio, there's risk wrap, there's income protection, and there is time segmentation. And so the best thing about this tool is it takes all the different strategies that are out there that you hear about, and it tells you which one is best for you based on your preferences. So that's why I really like that. So that's her one way for income distribution strategy. Have her take that. We'd figure out what her style is, and then we'd craft a plan around that. She had some concerns about longevity, outliving her money. We have her going till 90. What if we just say 95? Let's just go look here. And we can say, okay, what's your probability success? Hold on. Let me reset this back to 90, which is what I feel comfortable with planning with towards. And let's go take a look at her stress test, and we can see, okay, how do we do with longevity here? So longevity barely affects her. Okay. Now inflation affects her quite a bit because of her pension. Social Security wouldn't matter as much, but that can affect her. And Social Security being cut can affect her quite a bit. But these other ones I wouldn't worry about. Longevity is actually her least concern out of all these. Surprisingly enough, is the least concern based on her situation. So that's not an issue. Healthcare costs we've talked about, right? She has her house, home equity in her house, and we have 2 years planned in here, which is the average for most Americans. Some Americans, if you get Alzheimer's, it's unfortunately worse. But for on average, there we go. So I think that's pretty good for now. What I would say here is Susan's action plan would be something along these lines. Take the retirement income style assessment so we can plan for that a little bit. We're going to wait for Social Security somewhere between 62 and 67. So just wait on that for a couple years till you get there, and we'll reanalyze depending on how everything goes. And long-term care is taken care of. And then maybe liquidate some holdings and have some money in cash to take you through 2 years, and then at the 62 mark we will reassess and see, do we delay Social Security a couple more years or not. But Social Security in that 62 to 70 excuse me, 62 to 67 zone is ideal, and that's kind of what we're planning for. If you like this video, please give it a like. Give me a comment what you thought. If you want me to run a analysis on your plan, shoot me a question via email, marlonfinancialadvisors@gmail.com. I'll probably leave it down in the comments. But other than that, take care.